Gotta prepare myself. I'm ready for some bullshit. I gasped. I gasped for breath. I looked up at the cord with teary eyes and saw that it had snapped in two. I wonder what that was from. Was that something? Did something happen where he would have a cord? He must have gone. He was probably base jumping, getting the bungee cord, or he was trying to get a golden spatula in SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. That's probably what he was doing. Cough, cough. Ha, ha. Oh my god, what a fucking whiner. Why was I failing now? Now? You think you're failing now? What do you call the rest of your existence in this game? Sure, I was a loser. I was a failure of a human being who'd never done anything worthwhile in his entire life. Hell, I wasn't even human. But it wasn't fair that I couldn't even die. Why couldn't I die? Die! I wanted to die! After the pain I'd experienced trying to do something, I don't know, the first time, I didn't have the courage to try it again. Get a D-sword. And just fall on top of it. Even now, I was looking for others to help me. I was so disgusting I made myself want to vomit. Or sweat. You always do that. I really was just so pathetic. Anyway. Oh, my god. Go from one fucking loser to another. Hospitals empty out fast at night. Okay. Perhaps there was too much life and too much death in the daytime, and so these hours were used to restore the balance. An odd observation. There was no smell of life or death at this hour, only an empty silence. Yasuji Ban chuckled to himself. He was a weird guy to be thinking about these things. Yeah, it is a bit strange to go to a hospital and be like, man, it doesn't smell like death here. But it didn't seem especially quiet today. It wasn't even lights out yet, but the lights in the hallway were off. And there were no nurses to be seen. The second Bond set foot in the lobby, he started to have a really bad feeling about this. There was no real reason for it. It was just what you might call a detective's intuition, or foreshadowing that the writers are about to do something. My intuition's pretty damn good too, isn't it? I guess. Maybe the strangely religious thoughts he was having were his way of trying to take his mind off the feeling. Religious. He'd taken a taxi here and called Sua several times on the way. Oh yeah, Sua was kidnapped, wasn't he? Poor guy. But Sua hadn't picked up once, a fact that spoke more about his current situation than any words could say. Well, wasn't he, being taken, and wasn't he, choking on the phone, help me, I've been taken. He's like, oh, well, I wonder what could have happened to him. There's no time to waste. And here he is. No time to waste, but he's thinking about how the hospital smells funny. He had to find where in this huge hospital Sua was being held, and then rescue him. And without the kidnapper finding him either. Any kind of shoes would echo off the linoleum floor. Bond had taken off his leather boots before he'd come into the lobby. I would not want to walk through a hospital barefoot. I know it's clean, but also, ugh. It was almost winter. He could feel the coldness of the floor through his socks. I guess he's not barefoot then. And it made him shiver with fear. The sound of the main entrance's automatic door opening echoed through the lobby before he heard the girl calling his name. It said Bonsan. Oh, Yua Kusunoki. When he saw Yua Kusunoki come into the lobby, he was so stunned he couldn't speak. He quickly ran over to the girl. She had a nervous look in her eyes as she glanced around her. I'm a bad hider. You forgot to count. Bon looked around for Momose, but she was nowhere to be found. Bon scratched his head. She'd come here alone? I thought we were playing hide and seek. That's very much a game. It is a game, though. It's called Chaos Head Noah. Silly goose. Then he heard a creaking sound coming from one of the hallways connected to the lobby. The hallway was empty and dark, and in the middle of it was an empty wheelchair, slowly coming toward them. Oh no, it's haunted. A ghost. And at almost the same time, they heard the sound of someone running up the stairs. Get the fuck out of here. Oh. Bon spoke, then started to run. He raced up the stairs, following the sound of the footsteps, without bothering to wait for her answer. He was faster and more agile than you'd ever think, from his usual laid-back attitude and posture and general everything. Okay, bye. Following the footsteps led him to the roof of the outpatient building. There was a little garden there with planters full of flowers. It was probably a place of relaxation for the patients here, but unfortunately it wasn't lit up. He couldn't tell what kind of flowers were blooming all around him, as if it would matter if he could. The wind was strong up on the roof. Still out of breath, he glanced quickly around him. The man whose footsteps he'd heard had definitely run up here, but then he disappeared. How'd you know it was a man? What do you base that on? You said the sound, like, you said you heard footsteps. Had he fallen for somebody's trap? The footsteps had almost seemed like they were there to attract his attention. The only possible reason was that they wanted to lure him out here. Bond didn't have a gun on him right now. He was nervous without a weapon. He looked around to see if anything might serve as one, but came up empty-handed. He gulped, and wiped there's that sweat again, on his forehead away with his fingers. One step at a time, he proceeded toward the center of the garden. There were plenty of places for a person to hide, behind that bench, or on the other side of that planter. He sharpened all of his nerves to be ready no matter where the attack came from. The center of the garden was a big circle with benches all around its outer perimeter. He looked at each one in turn, then noticed something strange on one of them. The descriptiveness is something. He slowly walked over to it, being careful not to let his guard down, as evidenced here by his sprite having his hands in his pocket. As he got closer, it began to take shape. Copyright infringement. It was the size of a soccer ball, round and black. It was a severed human head. Not. Bon had been involved in a few murder cases where the victims had been dismembered. It reminded him of the photos he'd seen. Yeah, they all looked like Darth Vader. His bad feeling got worse and worse. The thought that it might be his partner's head filled him with rage and frustration. Can you just imagine? It's like, oh, this might be my partner's severed head. Damn. Bon clenched his jaw hard. He took another step toward the bench. The thing on the bench wasn't moving at all. Still immediately determining that it's a severed head. A cold wind blew. As the angels cry, the living will descend and the dead will rise from way below. And then he heard a gunshot. It was so fast and so sudden that he froze. He was supposed to drop to the ground, stop and roll also, and look in the direction of the sound, but he couldn't. No, actually, there was no need to even bother anymore. He felt a burning pain in his chest and touched it with his hands. It was slick and wet. He was sweating. Something was pouring out of his body. He recognized the raw stench. And then there was a red flash. And then a moment later, his brain recognized the pain. He'd been shot. By the time he realized, his legs had already given out. He'd fallen face first to the ground, unable to stand. I don't think the unable to stand part is necessary. The footsteps from before were coming closer to him now. He looked up at the approaching man with vision that was already starting to blur. A black shadow, a gun in its hand. It was too dark to see the man's face, although his business suit, pristine blue. Ah, he heard a voice. Oh no, it was a voice he knew. Oh, he called him senpai, but in a smarmy way. Mamoru Sua walked right past his older partner, whispering in a mocking tone. You shot me! Bullseye. Sua laughed as he reached over and picked up the thing on the bench. I'm Darth Vader now. Das Spider. Look at that fucking thing. The Spider-Man Darth Vader. And they're treating it with like reverence, like this is supposed to be some sort of like a big deal. It looks ridiculous. It was the kind of thing a toddler would come up with. What if Spider-Man was Darth Vader? Sua walked back to him and held the helmet right in front of his face. See, I knew you couldn't trust somebody who smiled and frowned at the same time. It's a weird drawing of Bon. It looks like he got shot in the shoulder, but he chuckled. He could barely even see now. His limbs felt terribly cold. There was a pain in his chest, but it wasn't unbearable. This hurts, but I mean, I guess it's okay. He felt an intense gaze, like somebody looking at him, but he couldn't tell if it was Sua or someone else, a player of some kind. Realizing he had only a few minutes left to live, he forced his body to turn over. Now he was stretched out, looking up at the sky. It was cloudy, though, and he couldn't see the stars. Even if they had been out, his vision was too dark now to see them, so what does it matter? Just he looked up at the clouds. As he coughed, he could taste the blood in his mouth. I just talked through that. Yeah, baka. I didn't. I thought you both sucked. I liked you. Well, I shot you, so. Haha. Yeah, me too. His breathing was getting rapidly shallower. There was a wheezing sound as air fled from his throat. His vision was now totally black. It's like, hey man, do you wanna double tap this real quick, please? This is not fun. I'm having a rough time down here. That was Bond's last question before he passed out. Sua answered as he pointed the gun at him. At some point, the wind had stopped. The darkness was suddenly quiet. That's a shame. I like that band. The two silhouettes stopped moving. But that was only for a minute. Sua slowly pulled the trigger. Yeah. You could have done that earlier. It sounded like he fired a BB gun. I don't know if that's helping. That's not how that U2 song goes. It's hug me, kiss me, kill me, thrill me, not just kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me. Yeah, that's not how that song goes. Hey, LOL, LOL. That is funny. Climmy. Have you gone crazy? Lol. Or did your IRL GF dump you? Have a smile and a Coke and shut the fuck up, I guess. Let me tell you something you'll want to hear then. If you stay a virgin till age 30, you learn to use magic. That's important, so don't forget it. It'll be on the test. What test? Is there a test at the end of this 30-hour fucking nightmare? And while I'm telling you things that are important, Shibuya Scramble Crossing. 1 hour from now, something big is gonna go down. Oh. Will it be the end of the game? I'd hope it would happen before an hour. This is real fucking writing. Raffle, cut that shit out. Like, for real. Go see what's happening, man. This fucking... There's real character development going on here. You're famous, they'll all be excited to see you. Maybe somebody will kill you there. Oh, what an idea. I turned off the power to the monitor and pulled my legs up onto the chair. I was holding my one ally, Sedotan, in my hand. My hands were so sweaty that her slender torso was now sticky and disgusting. I don't think that's what it's from. Her arms were bent at an unnatural angle, too, and I put her in an arm bar. That's fine. Huh? That voice. No. How? Oh, Baka Oni. Oh, shit. There was no mistaking it. Out of all the girls who visited the base, only one was the type to yell like that. Nanami was here. I was a little shocked at how little emotion this inspired in me. I just didn't care. Same, man. Even if Nanami was here now, what difference did it make? It wasn't even that strange that she'd be here. Demi had just said she was going to save her, right? I think he's being tricked. Again. Because he's stupid. The way she was yelling was starting to annoy me. I'm a monster. Just leave me alone. It's Frankenstein's Nishijo. I never wanted to talk to another person again. But she was just so annoying that I found myself getting out of the chair and heading to the door. It felt like it was taking me a long, long time to get there. That's when I realized I was afraid of seeing her. I opened the door and saw Nanami there. She started in surprise, letting out a small cry, as you just heard. And then fell silent. What? She'd been so loud a moment ago, and now she was quiet. I didn't understand. I'd never really seen her like this. Quiet. What a guy. So I started to wonder, was this a real Nanami? Fuck you. It's a big house. No. Look at this place. Why would you want to be here? I couldn't say a word. I could think a lot of them, though. I ignored her question and went back inside and sat down on my sofa. I gripped the Seiratan figure again. I was holding it a little too tightly, and my hand hurt a little, but even that pain was a delusion. Nanami followed me into the room silently. She seemed like she didn't know what to do, and she moved a few of the magazines out of the way and crouched on the floor. Yeah, I wouldn't touch anything in here. She didn't say a word. Normally, this would be when she started to lecture me about something. But instead, she just crouched there, staring at the floor, depressed. I could see a bandage around her right wrist, poking out from under her sleeve. I was about to tell her that if she sat like that, this Nanami was just a delusion. I was too. The whole world was just a delusion taking place inside my brain. Me and everything I was seeing right now, all delusions, all fake, all day. No gas, no break. It didn't matter whether I could see... Jesus Christ. Hell, it didn't matter if she walked through the streets of Shibuya naked. Why are you... Ah. I looked away from Nanami and up at the ceiling. I started to count the rust spots there. For no real reason. It felt like telling you about it too, because we're still trying to up the word count. I didn't want Nanami to be in my field of vision. It would just make me even sadder. The silence continued. The only sound in the room was the sound of my computer fan. Nanami always used to be so annoying and loud when she came to the base. Maybe even those memories were a delusion. No, I'd rather not. She sounded depressed. This wasn't the Nanami I knew, which meant she must be a delusion. Her only emotion ever is annoying. Anything outside of that is strange. And stuff. Why do you say and stuff? I focused my mind on counting the rust spots. I didn't care. You're just a delusion. Even if you're real, you're not my problem anyway. If I'm a delusion, I'm not even really your brother. Suddenly, I could hear the sound of rustling cloth echo quietly throughout the room. My ears were ringing. My head hurt so bad, but this was all just a delusion anyway, so I didn't care. Why? No matter what weird thing she did, it wouldn't surprise me. I didn't care. This was a delusion. I was one too. Of course, weird stuff would happen randomly. That was how it worked. I didn't look. I was scared to look. Yeah, I was playing hoops, man. I hit a sick crossover. I just sprained my wrist, man. I deked a guy out of his skates. What do you want from me? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah, it's a shame it took you that long to catch on to that. You should. He is a problem. I didn't want to see anything anymore. I didn't want to think about anything. What do you say to that?
No, not me.
My God, he's talking like how I talk in my streams, just like super quiet, up close to the mic. Like, wow. He like me for real, only he's not, because he's a piece of shit. I called out to the girl in front of me who might or might not Be my sister.
お前が本物でも偽物でもどっちでもいいよ。
There was only one thing I wanted now.
僕を殺してくれないか。
Oh, that'll help. Come on, Nanami, you have one of those swords too, don't you? You're one of the main characters in this game. You gotta have one. Just stab him with it. Or not. Or... Just outside of the front lobby of AH Tokyo General Hospital, Yua Kusunoki was staring at what lay beyond the automatic door. Very tersely it looks. She looks quite perturbed. Bon had told her to leave, so she had come outside, but she'd been too worried to go any further than that. Bon had disappeared up the stairs, chasing a mysterious figure. It had been less than 3 minutes, but she was looking back into the lobby to see if he would come back. After Bon had gone alone to the hospital, Yua had ignored Momose's warnings and gone after him. She needed to do whatever it would take to find out the truth about her sister's death and who had killed her. I forgot all about that. Somebody had sent Bon those threatening phone calls and kidnapped his partner, Sua. Whoever it was, they were probably the person that killed Mia. Whoever that is. Something was telling her that. The writer. And so, when the urge had come to follow him, she couldn't fight it off. Despite all of his warnings that getting involved was dangerous, she'd come here anyway. Of course, now that she was here, there wasn't anything she could do. She was just a powerless teenage girl. Her hope had been that Bon would heroically catch the killer, and then she'd have a chance to question him. Yeah, I don't feel like doing none of this. I'm going to sit on the sidelines, let other people do the stuff. Why did my little sister have to die? That was the question Yua wanted to ask most of all. Oh, she felt somebody looking at her. She glanced around nervously. The sun hadn't been down for more than 2 hours, but the hospital's front entrance was eerily silent. The after-hours entrance was right next to it. This was also where the emergency patients would be brought in. But there were nobody there. Already yawning. I would love for this game to pick it the fuck up, please. A train was passing by right alongside the hospital, but there were almost no cars on the wide street in front of it, and no pedestrians at all. This spot between Shibuya and Shinjuku, 2 towns that never slept, was like a shadow born of 2 powerful lights. Inside of you are 2 lights, and they're always fucking. Whoever was looking at her, she couldn't find them. She put a hand on her chest and took a deep breath to calm her nervousness. Then, for no real reason, she looked toward the hospital wards. You could just say she looked at the hospital wards. It's Yua Kusunoki too. It must be the twin. A girl was standing there, menacingly. The lights at the entrance to the wards were off, and it was hard to see, but for some reason she could see the girl clearly against the darkness. She whispered, knowing it was impossible, and yet unable to stay silent. The girl looked just like her. It looked just like her dead younger twin sister. She recognized the girl's outfit, too. It was her younger sister's clothes. That's Mia Kusunoki's music. She thought for a moment that it might be a ghost, and the hairs on the back of her neck stood up on end. The girl turned around and ran, heading toward the automatic door. Marked the entrance to the hospital ward. When she got close, the door opened. So she wasn't a ghost then. Yua stood there for a moment, stunned, before starting to run after her. Okay. The wards must have been past lights out because it was even quieter than the outside. Each step Yua took echoed far down the hallways. Just like the outside, the quiet was almost eerie. Almost eerie, not completely eerie. It's like partially eerie. The girl disappeared up the stairs. She heard what sounded like a faint laugh. Oh no, now the sister's gonna shoot her. Everybody's just gonna get tricked into going upstairs to the roof where they get shot. It was like a scene out of a horror movie. Yua thought to herself. I hate that. She took a slow step up the stairs and then another. She arrived at the second floor. She looked down the hallway, but there was nobody there. She wondered if she was seeing things when... Somebody laughing like, fucking, is this fucking Beavis from... Or what's the kid from Hey Arnold, the one who breathes? I can't remember. He wasn't Beavis. He had a name like that, though. She heard a girl's laugh from the floor above. The voice, the way she laughed, Yua knew them both well. Yua went up to the third floor, looked down the hallway, and saw... Wow, the same girl, that's crazy. Who would have guessed? A girl who looked just like her standing there. She's scoffing. One of the victims in the first New Gen case, the group dive, her sister, who died 2 months ago. She was standing there, as real and solid as anything around her. Yua took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes, but when she put them back on, Mia was still there. Whoosh. Oh, whoosh, whoosh, double. The voice was far too clear to be a hallucination. There was a fearless smile on the girl's face, and the exact same pose. It was just like Yua remembered her. Mia was always like that. She always used to laugh in such a mocking way so she could play the villain. Oh, whoa. I loved my sister. She was awful. Eh? I mean, for real, what are you talking about? That's probably not true, but what? Where's all this coming from? What a convoluted plan that would be. Where is this coming from? Therefore I am. Oh my god. Sorry I yawned so much in this, but this is boring as shit. But you don't know for sure. Whoosh. Wow, she bought into that shit quick. She'll believe almost anything. I'm sleepwalking a hallucination of my dead sister. That was really me the whole time. All the research Yua had done about how imperfect memories were and how easily they could be faked suddenly seemed truly real for the first time in forever. She didn't know who she was. Who was she? Mia shook her head violently. Whose eyes are those? Yua, the girl who always played the goody two-shoes, who was automatically loved and praised by her parents. Mia, the girl who always played the bad girl, who actively sought out her parents' hate while being jealous of the affection they gave her older sister. What is happening? Eh? Mia, or maybe Yua, began to guide Yua, or maybe Mia. Without a sound, they began to walk. Yua and Mia, two identical twins, indistinguishable from each other. Yeah, I can't tell these two apart. Yeah, it's completely identical. The boundary between them grew more and more indistinct. Maybe this would have meant something if we had known more about the sister character. And for something to be not well characterized in this overly worded nonsense is a feat of incredible magnitude. The two buildings were huge boxes standing in the darkness. But compared to the huge skyscrapers of Shinjuku next to them, they were like children looking up at grown-ups. The roof of the ward, that was where Mia had brought Yua. There was a gap torn in the corner of the tall fence surrounding it, just big enough for a person to pass through. It wasn't clear who made it, or why. Mia and Yua went through the gap and stood on the edge of the roof. In front of them was the outpatient building. It wasn't as tall as the building they were on, and they could see the garden below. But there were no lights there, and even if someone was there, Yua couldn't tell. The wind was blowing hard on the roof. The two girls' clothing and long, soft hair flapped all violently in the wind as the wind blew into them. Okay. For mankind? Maybe if you fall on top of me, we will merge into one person. Yua's voice was monotone. Her eyes were empty. She spread out her hands to keep her balance against the violent winds. Mia was right next to her, spreading out her hands in the same way. She turned to Yua and laughed. Oh, look at her. She looks evil because her eyebrows are furrowed like, I'm gonna get you. You don't have to keep your balance. You will feel my Nagato. Do a flip. I don't know. You were up a little bit higher, so I don't know if that's necessarily true. Am I me or am I you? What? Heh. Oh, that's how I feel about playing this whole game. Doesn't even matter. Whichever I am. Oh, cool. Whee! All hesitation disappeared from within her, and Yua went to take a step forward. A gunshot tore through the night air. Suddenly, Yua came back to her senses. She looked down beneath her and screamed. She saw how high up she was and suddenly felt dizzy. She lost her balance and almost fell. She grabbed on desperately to the fence behind her and just barely managed to avoid falling. The gunshot had come from the roof on the other building below her. She looked down at it again. She could just barely make out human figures in the middle of the rooftop garden. There were two of them. One was lying on the ground. The other was standing next to it. Whoosh! Bonson. Had the detective shot someone? Or had someone shot him? Questioning gunshots. Leave me alone. Can you stop delaying your suffering? Fucking John Malkovich in Aragon style. Do not prolong my suffering. Like mine's being prolonged. We deluded each other? Like what? Oh, fuck. Mia leapt at her. She wrapped her hands around Yua's neck. I'm going to kill you! Yua felt incredible pressure on her throat. She couldn't breathe. I wonder why. Ag. Ah. Mia was no ghost. There was a real physical body in front of her, and it was strangling her. At least she said please. So just this once. Oh, she's turning red. Yua's vision turned red. Her hands flailed through the air, but she couldn't grab onto anything. She was going to die here. What the fuck is that? No. In the face of this overwhelming fear, Yua used every muscle in her whole body to push back against Mia with a strength she didn't even know she had. She'd push with a sword. But Mia was strong. She didn't budge at all. Now even Yua's thoughts were turning red. Her mind felt like it was being covered in sticky, red blood. It's actually blued. What the fuck is that noise? She shook her head violently, and her glasses fell off. Oh no, she can't see a thing without her glasses. Now from the outside you could tell it was who. Yeah, impossible. Whoever won could be whoever they wanted to. If Yua died, Mia could become Yua. If Mia died, Yua could become Mia. Yua felt a growing sense of resignation within her. In front of her was the face of Mia, or perhaps Yua, blurred with hatred. Red is right. She looked away, not wanting to see it. Well, the red is real. Oh, with red eyes and red vision. Yeah, I know, it's red. I could see how red it is. She saw one of the flower beds and the flowers on the rooftop garden. It felt like there was a strange shadow mixed in with them. Maybe her eyes were playing tricks on her without her glasses. But now she couldn't even breathe. She felt a tiny sense of peace working its way through the pain. Part of her thought maybe it would be okay to give up, but her survival instincts made her reject the peace she felt. Yua reached out toward the strange shadow. Back to the shadow. The planter was at least 2 meters away. It was far too far away for her hand to reach. But she felt something cold and hard in her hand. She grabbed it, almost unconsciously. And then her fading consciousness became clear again, as if a fog had lifted. Dua? A powerful, invisible shockwave shook the air. Red lights, like flower petals, danced in the sky, and her twin sister was knocked away. Yua coughed and staggered to her feet, then looked down in awe at the item in her hand. It was a sword. So dazzling and elegant, so sharp. So pure, so aquiline, so delicate and fragile, so bewildering and mystical, and so beautiful it brought you to tears, and so beautiful it brought you to tears. The thing in her hands, the first thing it reminded her of was the sword she'd told Bon about, the one she'd seen Ayase holding in the tunnel. That's cheating. You're not allowed to use weapons. I went into the settings, I turned weapons off. This is a singles match, not a no DQ. Mia crawled out of the planter. Oh, that the shockwave had knocked her into. She was holding her head in pain. You gonna try and kill me again? What the fuck? My entire character arc is I didn't do it. Probably. Because I got a sword and you don't. There was no sense in talking to her anymore. Two hearts that had once been one were now completely separate, never to rejoin again. Mia came at her once more. Yua remembered the pain she'd felt just a moment ago and shivered in terror. She's like, whoa, wait a minute, I don't think I want to be choked again. Stab. Not a great sound effect for that. There was a flash. The sword in her hand curved in a sharp arc. It sliced the ghost in two. Mia froze. She had a stunned expression on her face. She ran her hands along the wound, which ran from her left side to her right shoulder. There was no blood. How dare you attack a ghost? She stabbed a ghost. Large particles, big enough to see with the naked eye, began to appear around Mia's body. That'd be cool to see. I used that exact same sound effect in my game. That's crazy. I used it as like a transformation sequence sound effect. It was like the exact same one. I guess we all just used Zap Splat. That was pretty crazy. Her body began to bubble. It began to bubble, toil and trouble. Fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. I know it's double, toil and trouble. I don't care. Its outlines faded away, and then it transformed into something else. Yua looked on in shock. In Mia's place appeared a fat man. He was wearing a denim shirt and filthy jeans, and had a backpack on his back, and he was fat. It's a man she'd never seen. Fat. Confused, Yua began to step backwards, the D-sword still in her hand. The fat man hadn't expected her to see him. It appeared, and he was beginning to panic himself. Of course, he talks like that. Because he's fat. He's gonna talk like he's got a fucking cheeseburger in his mouth. Gigatomaniac. God, that makes me want to have a snack. The object was almost perfectly level as it flew at him, as if gravity didn't exist. Oh, it was defied, was it? Oh. By the time he turned around, it had already stabbed itself into the backpack he was carrying. No, not my backpack. That's a Jansport. How dare you? A pale flash of light came from the backpack. He went perfectly stiff, as if hit by an electric shock. His eyes rolled back into his head, and he fell forward on his fat face. He was foaming at the mouth, and his body was twitching. Sugar withdrawals, probably because he's fat. The thing that had struck his backpack. It was a curved sword, like the one that Yua just had grabbed from the air. Yua recognized the weapon. She'd seen it once before. Someone was coming closer. Yua looked up. She saw someone appear out of the darkness. Nah, not really. Just some inconsequential bullshit. Ayase gave Yua's sword a single expressionless glance.
Oh my god. Yeah, huh?
Yua had fallen to the ground in shock. Ayase picked up Yua's glasses off the roof and offered them to her, taking a knee to look down at her face. Her slender fingers gently stroked Yua's hair as she put the glasses on her face. Oh, they're in L words with each other. How cute. And they always triumph. Her smile was weak and fragile. Why is she smiling? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this isn't good. Nanami's face tensed up, but she quickly forced a fake smile. That wasn't how Nanami would react. Instead of laughing it off, the real Nanami would yell, "That's not funny!" Or, oh my god, who is it? Is John Mulaney impersonating... Is it Mick Jagger? Not funny! And then I'd be in for a long lecture. Not that it mattered. It didn't matter. If this Nanami wasn't gonna kill me, then I wasn't interested in her at all. She could disappear right now, and I wouldn't care. Seda-tan and I stared into each other's eyes. If Seda-tan was 3D, she'd grant my wish. I knew. If I didn't exist anyway, why couldn't I be 2D instead? Checkmate. I lost the bagel you gave me. I want that bagel back. What? You lost it when your hand got cut off, you silly Billy. She actually cared about that thing? How baka. From my perspective, it was the baka-est thing in the world. It was a present from me, wasn't it? Nothing I gave somebody could have any value at all. I hate this guy so much. How could I be sure I'd given it to her? Maybe the fact that I'd given it to her at all was just a delusion too. This whole world was worthless. Everything in my memories was worthless. God, I hate this guy so much. Because your hand got cut off. Because he sucks. Her head slumped forward. She clenched her fists tightly. Nanami's whisper was soft. Because he sucks. What? You're asking the wrong person for help. I'm just a delusion. I stared at Seda-tan's smile, making sure to not let myself see anything else. There was no reason to listen to Nanami's words. There was no point. I was just a delusion. Oh my god, I hate this so much. Like, so many words signifying nothing. Sorry, Chica. He thinks you're annoying. No such luck. Why, though? Why would you want him? That means nothing.
僕は妄想じゃない。
そりゃいつもああしろこうしろ言われて、それはお兄がだらしないから仕方なく。
I mean, look at your fucking look at your fucking shipping container that you live in. You cannot survive on your own.
言いたいことは
僕は妄想じゃない。
ナナだっていろいろ愚痴を聞いてもらいたい時とか、泣きたいとお兄に優しくしてもらいたい時とかあるんだ。
僕は妄想じゃない。
ねえ、お兄、ナナの話聞いてよ。ナナ、今すごく
I'm really, really sad right now. I'm not. I'm really, really bored.
お兄にもらった大切なバングル、なんか声出して泣きたいくらい。
You really are crying already, though.
お兄に抱きしめてほしいのに。お兄に頭撫でて慰めてほしいのに。
Girl, you can't get that from no one else.
ねえ、お兄、今日だけはナナのわがまま受け止めてよ。
Holy shit. Wasab. Wasab. I slowly looked up and saw Nanami crying. She was trying to hold back the tears, but they were falling from her eyes anyway. Anywho, bye-bye. Rimi Sakihata shivered as she opened the glass door and came inside what looked like a lobby. Dude, just say she's at the fucking hospital. Come on. A freezing chill came up from the floor. There was no sign of anyone nearby. Given the location, that was only natural, but knowing what awaited ahead, Rimi still wished there was at least one person there. In front of her was a soundproof door, like you'd see at a movie theater. Everyone shrugs at the same time. Yeah, you know, you're sick of sad to 30-somethings in a bar. Play some nostalgia songs, because nobody really wants to hear about you anymore. I know. Ooh, 2 poses with the swords. That's very impractical, because it looks like half of it is going to poke her in the heart at, like, any moment. She's probably not holding them correctly. Rimi bit down hard on her lip. She was holding her D-sword in both hands. She'd already real booted it. Oh yeah, I'm really scared. Rimi told herself this as forcefully as she could. Then she took one last big breath before pushing open the door with her shoulder. And then she found the vault dwellers? What the fuck? War. War never changes. Her eyes went wide when she saw what was inside. It was a device, impossibly huge and monstrous. The room was dome-like, with the device at its center. There was a faint, eerie sound that echoed throughout the huge space. It was low, like a beast's roaring. The sound meant the device was running. Noah 2.
もう
I never even met Noah 1. It's already online.
君のおかげですよ。
Our Noah 2 is online. A voice answered her. When she heard it, she felt terror in her very soul.
先ほどリリ1年半ぶりですね。
Oh my. Get a load of this guy. He looks like PlayStation 1 Leon S. Kennedy. That is a very angular face. Oh, wow. A real fight or flight response just kind of took over me for a second there. Oh, that is some shit. Anyway, Rimi's instincts are screaming in terror. Her heart started to pound, and her body began to shake. Terrible memories assaulted her mind. Her dark past was threatening to come back. She shook her head gently and gripped the D-sword to give herself strength, then turned toward the direction of the voice. The huge device, Noah 2, was and next to it was a tall man in a suit, and... She looks fine. Takumi Nishijo was being held there. A torn uniform, a bloody bandage on her right hand, a limp, slumped head. She was terribly pale. Nanami was struck wordless at the sight. Like... Ah yes, she's in her Jesus Christ pose. Silly me. No, it wasn't a cross that held her captive, clearly. It was a terrible, almost malicious shape. Very pointy. All the evil in the world. All the chaos in the world. All the wickedness in the world. It was all of these things, and more.
君がこの1年半どこで何をしていたかについて興味はありませんが困りますね。
He's got fangs. Look at this little vampire boy. Grr. You gotta go home. The man, Genichi Norose, had a calm voice, but there was a knife-like edge to it, a D-sword-like edge to it. Rimi forced herself to stand tall and glare at him.
ナナちゃんを離して
ほ
No.
うまさかここに来たのはお友達を助けに。
ナナちゃん離して
He ain't gonna do that.
その子は何も関係
I'm
ない
glad we finally introduced the main villain of the game just as it's about to end. Hopefully. I mean, I think it's about to end. I feel like this game has been never
直
ending.
接話してみてはどうですか。
Maybe I will. Rimi was caught off guard by Norose's offer. She was trying her best to stand strong, but the second she'd seen his face, her legs had started to shake. She called out to Nanami without moving from where she stood.
ナナちゃん
Nanami's head suddenly moved. Her closed eyes opened, just a little. She looked up. Her empty eyes stared at Rimi.
リミさん大丈夫今
Go home. In the middle of her sentence, Nanami's face began to twist in pain. Her face was pale, and her breathing was ragged. She's probably fine.
痛いよ
Oh, never mind. It hurts.
右手が痛いの
Well, yeah, because it's gone, you silly Billy. And then her body fell from the cross. You can't call that a cross. Kaplump.
ナナちゃんねえリミさん
I mean, you're dying. Do we really need to do the honorifics? Nanami was lying on the ground, only her head moving. It was as if she were looking for something. Her glasses? She can't see a thing without her glasses.
ナナのバングル
Oh
知らないかな
my god, her hair is so bright and pink. I'm seeing it in the camera playback. It's making me look like I have a sunburn or that I'm made out of chewing gum.
見つからなくて
Ah,
ナナのバングルどこにも
and my Baka Oni gave it to me. She stood up, slowly, and began to search her surroundings with her left hand.
バングルだねわかった私知ってるからだから私
Can't let you do that, Star Dreamy.
痛いよ
Put a little ice on it, you'll be fine.
ナナはなんでリミさんのことを知ってるんだっけリミさんなのリミさんがナナのバングル嘘どうしてひどいよ
I can't take this guy seriously. Rimi realized that something was wrong with Nanami and turned her eyes toward Norose. He smirked as he silently watched their conversation.
ナナちゃんに何を見せてるの
Yeah, it's some bullshit. Don't worry about it. Oh, boy. Soy un perdedor. He's a loser, baby. Nanami's gaze was locked on Rimi. She slowly staggered to her feet like a newborn fawn. She reached her right arm toward Rimi. The bandage was soaked with blood. It looked like her hand was still attached. But bright red drops, one after another, were falling from it. A pool of blood was forming at her feet. She needed medical treatment, fast. But despite her hurry, Rimi couldn't get any closer. Getting closer to Nanami meant getting closer to the man next to her. Rimi almost cried out of sheer frustration.
リミさんが持ってたのナナちゃん帰ろう
And take that shit. Quit accusing me.
どうして持ってくの
Ay, ay, ay.
ナナのバングル返して
Nana no bangaru.
落ち着いてナナちゃん
Or I'll take your other hand.
お兄からもらったあれは誰にも渡したくないの返してよナナちゃん返して
A pained scream. A drop of blood fell from Nanami's wrist. The drop crystallized before it hit the ground. Something that looked like mineral ore appeared out of nowhere around it, like some kind of inorganic shell had burst through a hole in space. The crystal and ore instantly fused into a single shape, a ship's wheel. Hope that's not sharp, it looks pretty pointy. I wouldn't lean on it, especially when you're already wounded. It seemed far more like a cross than the thing which had been holding Nanami. Or maybe a sword, stabbing straight downward, rejecting everything around it.
これはリソ返してよお願い
Nanami held the sword to her chest, embracing it. Her tears of sorrow fell on it, and it began to flash crimson like a beating heart.
ないとリミさんのことを
I'll kill you.
許さない
Oh my god. What a shit show.
ナナちゃんも気ガロマニアックスだった
Dude, everybody in the fucking game is a gigalomaniac. Come on. Pay attention.
今日だけはナナのわがまま
You said you'd always be there for me. But you're not. Wasab! Nanami was crying. She was trying to hold back her tears, but they fell from her eyes anyway. I gave her a single glance, annoyed. Then I looked back up to the ceiling and returned, counting the rust spots. Man, what a great protagonist.
それだって
My favorite part is that his character arc has been that he started shitty, and he's still shitty.
僕は
Shit, I can't help you.
妄想の
そんなこと言わないでよ。お兄が妄想のはずないじゃん。だってナナは小さい頃のお兄のこといつもナナに世話かけさせて
I don't think you had to throw that in there,
頼りにならない。
but I'm glad you did, because you're correct.
でもお兄は昔からずっと
That's right. Nanami was right. I remembered Nanami from when she was little. I had my own memories of being young, too. I remembered being in elementary school and not being able to go on the field trip, and how I'd watched the bus with my classmates on it get into an accident. I even remembered Mr. Saito, my teacher who died. In the English version, he's Mr. Hub. That's a joke for pretty much just me. Who should I believe? Rimi, a girl I didn't even know, or my little sister who I'd grown up with? Wasn't the answer obvious? I should believe Seira-tan. Rimi was lying, Nanami was telling the truth. And if Nanami was real, then so was I.
ななみ
I reached out a hand toward Nanami. Her existence was my only hope. She was the one thing that could possibly save me, and it turns out to be a fat man with a backpack.
助けてななみ
Sob. Oni sob. If Nanami's warmth... I could prove that I was real too. Nanami had been sobbing, but now she wiped away her tears. She turned her red-lidded eyes, red-lidded, to me and gave me a sad smile. Gotcha, bitch. So I could stab you? I nodded, again and again, again and again. If that would save Nanami, then it would save me. I'd happily give my bratty little sister as many hugs as she wanted. After all, she was my only little sister in the whole widest world.
ななみ助けて
I wanted... I wrapped my hands around her, tightly, and tried to hold her. Tricked ya! And just before I could... she evaporated. A pale light appeared around her body, and she dissolved into a million glowing pieces of light. The lights burst like bubbles in the air, one after another. My outstretched hand touched nothing. There was no warmth at my chest. In front of my eyes was a fat man with a backpack. Nanami disappeared. Ooh, ah. Okay. Nanami Nishijo held the D-sword she'd created from her blood tight to her body, using only her left hand. Her right hand just hung alongside it. The blood dripping from the bandage was running down the small groove in the blade before falling to the ground. And it hurts, apparently.
知ってたのナナちゃんがギガロマニアックスだって
Isn't it obvious? Everyone in this game is. Rimi's question was directed at Norose, who'd been watching the events unfold silently. No matter how much hate was in her gaze, he seemed completely uninterested. Kind of like me.
偶然の産物
I didn't give a shit.
ナナちゃんにひどいことしたくせに何が偶然なの
君の時のような苦労はしませんでした。我が社にはすでに各最も西条匠にだけはそのマニュアルを通用
He
します。
sucks.
化け物だなんて
but he is.
君も化け物だから。
そういう話はしてない。
Yeah, everybody, bunch of bakamonos. Haha, got him.
虚無から生まれたものだから。
Rimi looked away, biting her lip in frustration. She was still shaking. She had to save Nanami, but her legs wouldn't move, like they were rooted to the floor. Norose, however, seemed completely unfazed. He gave Nanami's head a loving pat. Nanami didn't react. Her head was slumped, and she was taking one shallow breath after another.
闇のある一点だけを
God, imagine this game would just fucking end.
その周囲には無数の死体が転がってい
This
る
guy,
でしょう。
like, so somebody's gonna stab this guy, and then it'll be credits, right?
そんな話やめて。
例えば君が自殺をしたら、スポットライトは数十センチ横にずれて、君を闇で覆ってくれるでしょう。そして、何も知らない別の誰かが。
Uh-huh. Oh, God. Yabete, come on. Norose shrugged and fell silent. Like, all right, you gonna scream like that? Damn, you gonna burst my eardrum?
痛い。
Itai. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts, all right. God damn.
解放してほしい。
拘束は解きましたが、
連れて帰る。
構いませんよ。もう用済みです。
Yeah, all right. She got a D sword. Bye.
ナナちゃん入ろう。だったらバングル返して。返すから。
Rimi knew where Nanami's hand was being kept on that day. The night when Nanami's right hand had been delivered to Takumi's room. The night when Takumi had been humiliated on the roof of O Front. Rimi had taken the hand from his fridge. I better hold on to this. Shogun had it now. It was being kept cold so that it wouldn't rot. The bangle was there too.
お兄からもらったの。
Yes, I know.
ナナのだよ。
I know.
勝手に持って行って。
I didn't.
ひどいよ。
Nanami's voice was getting more and more violent.
落ち着いて深呼吸して。自分をしっかり持って。
Get a hold of yourself. Whoosh.
一つ聞きますが、
Norose suddenly interrupted them. In her mind, Rimi grimaced. In her mind, she grimaced?
西条匠にとっては、君たち二人の
Ooh, good question. The girl he wants to fuck or
重
the
要度が高い。
or Rimi? Bad, but it's bad. Rimi looked down.
リミさんなんか。
Nanami looked up. Light had returned to her empty eyes. They were abnormally bright. Rimi quickly brought up her sword, but froze inside the sudden darkness. The lights had been cut. Whether it was an accident or deliberate, Rimi couldn't tell.
負けちゃダメ。
Rimi whispered to herself. Her voice made the air vibrate, but quickly melted away inside the darkness. She realized she couldn't hear the awful rumbling coming from Noah 2 anymore either. Was she put in like a hyperbaric chamber or something? What the fuck? She didn't like the dark. It brought back memories. All alone in the darkness. Rimi looked around her. There was darkness everywhere. Not a trace of light was to be found. Could she not see because it was dark? Or could she not see because her vision wasn't working? Or were her eyes closed? She couldn't tell which way was up or which way was down. Well, last I heard, everything she knows is wrong. Black is white, up is down, and short is long. And everything she thought was just so important doesn't matter anymore. She didn't even know where she was. The darkness worked its way inside all of her senses. She couldn't even sense her own body anymore. It was like her body had transformed into a gas from a solid state. Like her mind was leaking from its vessel. Past and present and the future as well melted together, and Rimi's memories began to mix with one another. When was it now? When was the past? Oh, nudity. A single ray of light shone down into the perfect darkness, and in the center was a circular spotlight. She saw herself crouching on the ground with her arms wrapped around her knees, completely naked for some reason. Rimi stared at herself from within the darkness. It was just like back then. Back then. Rimi had nothing. She woke up one day to find herself locked up, tortured. The psychological pain was worse than the physical pain. Every day was hell, and every day all she could do was endure, and be naked. Rimi didn't know where she'd been before that. Presumably, though, she had had clothes. When had she been imprisoned here? How? How long had they been torturing her? Rimi didn't know. Somehow it didn't feel like amnesia to her. It felt like she'd only begun to exist the moment she'd woken up here. Maybe the personality which had inhabited this body before had killed itself within a delusion to escape from the pain. And maybe the current Rimi was born to take its place. Maybe there had been many different personalities before her. Maybe the named Rimi Sakihata was one that changed with each new personality. There's no true me inside me. Something moved within the darkness. Rimi stood up and slowly approached it. When she moved, the spotlight went with her. And then she saw what it was. It was Rimi, lying on the ground, dead. Rimi whispered, taking care not to look at Rimi as she spoke.
あなたは何番目
2.
私は
Ooh. Rimi's eyes began to twitch violently. Tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. The D-sword slipped from her hand. She dropped to her knees where she stood. Like a child, she covered her face with her hands, shaking her head weakly. I'm sorry. I couldn't take it. Nanami watched expressionlessly, and Norase gave a small, bored snort. Just went, Pfft. Fweh. 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 There was nothing left of Nanami, but there's plenty of garbage. She disappeared right in front of me. She hadn't even been real.
どこだよ。いるんだろう。また。
Yes, the prank where I dissolve into light. The tears made it hard for me to see. I wiped them away, but they just kept coming and they don't stop coming. Hot little drops of water. But even their heat and even the emotions that were making me weep were delusions. Because I myself was a delusion. Nanami was a delusion. I was an idiot, a baka, if you will. To get my hopes up, they'd been mercilessly dashed.
いつこの妄想って
I didn't even know who I was talking to, but I want anyone to hear me. Yeah, it's like me. Can anyone make this, like, move it?
僕は本当はイケメンなんだ。そうかわいい彼女とその子がリミとかセナみたいな電波女じゃなくてセーラさんみたいないい子なんだ。
あなたは
You are a sad sack. That's what you are, buddy. I fell to the ground, burying my head in a pile of garbage where I belonged, and clutched Seiratan tightly. I slammed my fist into the floor, trying hard as I could to avert my eyes from reality, but I couldn't. Rimi's words kept echoing in my head again and again.
死にたい。
Yeah, wah. I know, buddy. I know.
どうして
I hope it happens for you.
セーラだ。
Oh, Seida's not gonna do it.
そんなに死にたいの
Well, maybe she will.
死にたい。こんな やだ。自分の
Jesus Christ.
いや、
かわいそうなタッキー。だったらすぐに殺される方法を教えてあげる。
Now that's nice of you. Wow, thank you, my wife. Seda-tan was always there to help me.
とりあえず外に出るさ。
Alright, hell yeah.
外に
It's an easy start. I stood up as I was told. I almost tripped over the garbage on the floor several times, but I managed to make it outside. I didn't have the slightest doubt about what I was being told. Seda-tan was the one person who would never betray me. She was my wife. She wasn't 3D. When I got outside, I heard a strange sound. It felt like I'd heard it somewhere before.
この音を追いかけて。
Alright.
かけたら殺してもらう。
そういうこと。
Oh, sick. Let's go.
優しく殺しても
Oh,
ら
probably
える
not.
かな。
私が保証するよ。
Oh, never mind. Seda says it's all good, bruh.
よ
Let's
か
go.
った。
Jaunt your ass on down. Let's
やっ
go.
と
Hell yeah. I'm with you. Alright. The sound was my savior. It was a bell of salvation, leading me to a land of peace. I followed the sound with Seda-tan still in my hand. Can you kill me in my action figure, please? It kept getting closer and then farther away, as if it were leading me somewhere. Whenever I got close to it, it would suddenly get further away. Whenever I felt like I would lose it, it would get closer and wait for me. It was as if it had a will of its own. A sound with a will of its own. It reminded me of Shogun. For a moment I saw his face. Then I stopped caring. It didn't matter if it was him behind this or not. If someone wanted to kill me, I'd happily let them. I stopped even trying to figure out what the source of this sound might be. I was gonna die soon anyway, and since I didn't exist, there was no point thinking about it. But you know, he was saying shit like that before this. Nothing about this guy has changed. I let my mind become blank and staggered toward the source of the sound almost unconsciously, like moth to a flame. The area around me started to get more and more noisy. I stopped being able to hear the sound. I grimaced and tried to find the source of all the noise. And then I froze. At some point, I'd arrived at the middle of Scramble Crossing. The noise was from the huge crowds gathering in the square. It was so cramped that I could barely move. Everyone was pushed up against each other, like on the train during rush hour. There were even people here. There were even more people here than there had been when I'd been up at the top of O-Front. Oof. I remembered Grimm saying something about this. Something about a big event in Scramble Crossing tonight. It was me. Seda, what's going on here? I only have bad memories of this place. Why had she brought me here? Was Seda my enemy?
リベンジってこと。
Where's the person who's going to kill me?
目の前にいるっしょ。
Duh.
目の前。
It's me. The crowd was gigantic. It was a cold autumn night. Why would all these people be packed so tightly here in the square? And then the crowd in front of me parted, like Moses parting the sea in the Bible. From the Bible, a single road beckoning me forward. They'd been waiting for someone. Me. It's the first annual Oh, sweet, let's go. That incredibly long title came into my head and I laughed. Whee. I didn't want any pain, but if I could die here, I guess I'll put up with it. This was whatever.
私にはぴったりのもの
Time to
じゃ
die.
ないか。
I understood what Seda-tan meant by a second chance. I hadn't been able to die last time, so now she'd given me another chance. What a gal. I began to work my way through the crowd, an idiot smile forming on my mouth. I found myself at a place where rows and rows of reporters were lined up with cameras and microphones. The media seemed on edge, like the rest of the crowd. I don't know, they seem like they're having a good time. Except for maybe this guy with the big fucking beanie in the front. He's like very confused. It's like, yeah, it's just some guy. There's a lot of noise. Nobody seemed to be having fun. I don't know. That lady in the back in the green, she seems like she's enjoying herself. And that lady in the purple, Dipper Pines with the overcoat, the plaid overcoat there. There was none of the joy and excitement that they'd shown when I'd embarrassed myself at O-Front. They were all staring at me. Their eyes were cold and sharp. There was something akin to murder in their gaze. My hopes grew even higher. Die! 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 I looked up to see all 4 of the big TVs in the crossing were showing me walking through the crowd. Hey, get my own walkout theme. Hell yeah. It was being broadcast all around Japan, too, I was sure. If 40% of the country was watching, that meant 48 million people would be there to watch me die. I'm not even real. You all want to watch me die? I'm totally worthless. You want to watch me die? Man, I suck. You ain't even going to have fun with this. You're a bunch of idiots, you bacchus. That's fine with me. Watch all you want as long as you do what needs to be done. I stood in front of the line of cameras and microphones. All the flashes in the camera went off at once. Dazzling lights. Lights flashed and disappeared. I squinted in the brightness. An older male reporter I recognized from television was the first to speak. How is this guy being friendly? And what did he mean, what are my thoughts? What was that supposed to mean? Why was he asking my opinion? To be fair, whenever they asked a famous criminologist on TV for his opinion, he would always say the same boring things. It wouldn't be too hard to do a better job than that. But I didn't care. I'd stopped caring about New Gen entirely. I'd come here to have somebody kill me, not to answer questions from reporters. I didn't even have the strength left to do it if I wanted to. I'm here so I don't get fined. My whisper was picked up by the microphones and sent all throughout Shibuya by the big TVs. A murmur arose from the crowd. They were starting to become even more murderous. Come on, I want to be free. Don't make me put up with this bullshit. Seriously, me too, what the fuck? But the microphones got even closer. They were pushing right up against my mouth. I know how that feels. Like a bursting dam, the other reporters began to shower me with questions. Never heard of him. Probably. Maybe I am like a video game character in a sense. Somebody reset me. Let me get it. Game over. Seriously. When I said that, the tension in the crowd around me reached its peak and burst. Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. Get him. Yeah. Go to super hell. Fuck you the long way, buddy. A wave of people crashed towards me. I was caught up in its swell, screams and shouts all around me. I was smashed between the press of people. I found myself picked up off the ground, pressed by bodies from all directions, as my feet left the ground. I struggled, but helplessly. They struck me in the head, hit me in the arm. But it wasn't enough pain to kill me. Even when I thought they would strangle me, I still didn't resist. I let the chaos have its way with me, and then suddenly the pressure disappeared. I fell to the ground. Sedaton slipped from my hand. She rolled along the asphalt. Then someone stepped on her. People's legs were all around me, like trees in a forest. My wife was rolling between them. I reached my hand out desperately, but couldn't grab her. Her dazzling smile, the smile that had kept me going, was crushed by someone's leather shoes. She'll be fine. Then someone kicked her tiny body and sent her flying. A woman's red heel came down on her torso, crushing it. Gwa. I called out, but there was no answer. My one ally was gone. The sorrow threatened to crush me. Now I had no reason to stay alive. Oh my god, okay. I looked up and saw the walls of people had even blocked out the night sky. Nobody noticed I was crouching here. I was right here and nobody saw. I was begging them to kill me and nobody heard. Why was everyone ignoring me? Suddenly, I felt it on my neck. The prickling. The gaze of God. Whose eyes are those? It was in my head.
ここで死んじゃダメだ。
The voice echoed. I gasped.
イソードを手に入れて。
I ain't got no fucking D-sword, brother. I clenched my jaw hard.
将軍
I looked for his wheelchair amid the forest of legs. I looked for some asshole in a Darth Spider cosplay. So this whole thing was your doing, wasn't it? I should have known. Are you gonna show up in that stupid cosplay again and threaten me? Are you trying to make me do the same thing you tried to make me do before? All I want is death. I don't want to be a living freak show anymore.
あの時の自称将軍は僕はコスプレはしないよ。
Okay. Good for you.
あいつらが動き出している。
Who's they?
今以上の混乱
Oh, great. Things are about to get even worse. My favorite.
すべての黒幕。この混乱を引き起こした者たち。混乱を起こし
Money.
彼らを止められるのは君だけなんだ。
I sat up. The yelling and screaming was still going on above me. Nobody was looking at me at all. The crowd and the media were all jumbled now. They were grabbing each other, swearing at each other, hitting each other. What had gotten into them?
沈黙の兵器。ノア2はすでに稼働してる。
Noah 2 is online.
この混乱が起とされた一番の無差別人体実験。
Something hard hit my head. It hurt badly. It hurt badly enough that I thought my skull had been busted open. I put my hands to my head and pressed hard to dull the pain. I looked around with my tear-stained eyes to see a fist-sized rock nearby. There's a little bit of blood on it. Someone must have thrown it and hit me. It was an awful, aching pain. When I put my hand on the wound, I felt something wet and slick. Sweat. My fingertips were stained with blood. My blood. Kya. I heard a loud pop in the distance, and then a woman's kya. A gunshot? Was there someone with a gun? Why was everyone so excited? Why was everyone so eager to fight somebody they'd never met? Why was everybody acting so bizarrely? Weren't they all waiting for me to be the bad guy? The sacrifice. You get a 33 1/3 chance of winning at sacrifice.
渋谷の G レート。
Oh no, not the gravity and the biorhythms. Oh, it's impossible.
無差別人体実験だって。この場にいる人たちは今、見えない攻撃を受けているんだ。
Nanofibers. I heard that sound, the creaking sound, the rusty sound. Like the last gasps of a dying woman. Why woman? The sound of a wheelchair's wheels. So many people were crammed into the square. Walls of people, waves of people, rolling and undulating. But as Shogun wheeled forward, no one collided with him. No one tried to stop him. He came right toward me. Oh, what's up, buddy? Look at you, little dude. His body is so small, so frail and thin, he was covered in wrinkles. It looked like his bones might break at the slightest touch. His eyes were cloudy. They looked non-existent. Couldn't tell what he was looking at, what he was seeing. Couldn't take my eyes off him. The noise of the crowd around me suddenly became distant.
ずっと君を見ていたよ。
It was the same voice I'd heard when we first met. It wasn't the strange voice I'd heard at O-Front.
君は誰なの？
Who?
僕は君だよ。
From the future! And with those two words, I understood.
僕を妄想して生み出したのも、神の自然の正体も君だった。 たんだね。
No. This man was my creator? A little old man in a beanie? And a tracksuit? I feel like that would be the type of guy who made me. Is the old man with a beanie and a tracksuit. The person whose delusion had created me, and someone I would never ever be able to defeat.
君の名前は
西条匠
Fuck you. The real me. The original.
君は
100 billion.
君と同い年だよ君の設定
17 years old, and he was so small and wrinkled.
このままだと世界が死んじゃうノア2にあらゆる人の心は支配されちゃう
Uh-huh.
だから君に託したんだ
Entrusted what to me?
意味がわかんないよ。
Yeah.
頼むよ。僕を消して今すぐ
The wrinkles on Shogun's face moved. It looked like he was trying to change his expression, but I couldn't tell what it was supposed to be.
全部僕の
He's just so old.
僕が IR2 を妄想しちゃったせいでなんとか止めようとしたけど僕はこんな体だそれで君を生み出した君に止めてもらうために
そんなの知らない。僕はコピーだけが苦しまなくちゃいけないなんてそんなの
Yeah, you don't look like you're suffering.
死なせてよ。
君はコピーじゃないもう一人の僕だ
You're not a copy. You're like a slightly elevated copy.
つまりコピーじゃないか。君のしてることはすごく
悪かったって思ってる
Oh, he said sorry.
でも他に方法はなかっ
There's got to be a better
た
way.
世界の命運は君にかかっていると言っても過言じゃない
You are the chosen shitty copy.
だから
I couldn't have done any better. I'm sorry.
そんなのリミに頼め。知り合いなんでしょ。
Said those words deliberately. She might have been his girlfriend or his friend. I didn't want to think about either possibility. And then I realized how I felt, even though it was far too late. I was jealous of my original, even though I was just his copy. I was so ugly, so disgusting. What right did I have to be jealous? My feelings made me want to throw up. I felt even more depressed. I just wanted to die.
リミはナナミを助けに行って
Oops.
リミはね
Qua.
僕を救おうとしてくれていたその理由は君も知っているよね
あれは空
Probably not.
空はどうして
It's white, actually.
泣きたくなるから青いのか
それを望んだから
Because what?
私は望んで
僕が望んだんだ
You wish for a blue sky? Well, you just go bsky.social. Come on.
ここは君の心象世界であると同時に僕
Rimi turned to look at me. She seemed confused. She has no mouth, yet she wants to scream.
あなた誰ここには
No one here but me.
あなたはいつの私
違うよ
だったら誰私の心の中だよ
Get out of my head,
これ
you
しかない
freak.
それなのにあなたが来た途端に
妄想がシンクロしたんだ君の力がとても強かったから
そう
Rimi looked back up at the sky, an azure sky so clear it looked like you could see forever.
私本物の空私っていう人格が生まれた時にはね心の中も外もそ からは絶対に出してもらえない。
This is just non-ending.
私今
Uh-huh.
実は
Uh-huh.
これまでの私もそうしてきたと思うし、
What are we doing here?
せっかくあなたが空をこの
I decided I don't want to
記憶
do
に刻ん
that.
でおいていいかな。
死にたいの？
Sure.
本当の空を見てみたいとは思わないか？
ねえ、空って本当にあるのかな。
Source.
あるよ。
Citation needed.
でも現実の空はこの空よりもよ。
Dang. All right.
どこにある？
Up.
あの空はどこにあるの？
Outside.
君が望めば。
望んでいいの？
I mean, you can dream a little bit bigger.
もちろんだよ。
どうやって望むの？
Get out of here.
光は電磁場の波。その振動、自分のデッドスポットに望む。
Try fading the color you want to see.
君の望む世
Then
界
you
を
can real boot it.
作り出せる世界は
Real boot the
君
world.
の望みに応えてくれるよ。
Days or perhaps months passed after that meeting. Rimi came to my hospital room. She and I were both staying in the same hospital, and we both had the same gigalomaniac power. Though whether we should be proud of it or hate it, I didn't know.
お兄、お客さんだよ。ねえねえ、誰？彼女さん、いつの間に？やるね、お兄ってば。
Baka Oni.
また会えたね。
She looked so tired. Me too, man. Her skin was sickly pale. Her hair was a mess. Far too long. Your hair's too long. Her nails were cracked. And she kept squinting like she wasn't used to bright light. Like, oh my god. Fucking put on some makeup. Jesus Christ.
本物の空は
You're coming to meet your boyfriend and you're gonna look... You're gonna not look your best. The nerve. Yeah.
そうだ。
Nanami had been watching us carefully. Suddenly she clapped her hands together like she'd remembered something.
ナナ、お洗濯してこなくちゃ。リミさんでしたっけ？
You two
どう
kids?
ぞごゆっくり。
What? Nanami left. Rimi and I watched her go, neither with much emotion. Rimi turned back to me.
匠はいつから入院？
5年ぐらい
退院の予定は？
ないよ。僕の余命は
Oh, that sucks.
あと
私はあなたのおかげで終わりなんて絶対にないと思ってた。そしたら急に
They were just done. They're like, alright, you good. Get out of here, please. We've had about enough of you.
私は
Ay, ay, ay.
今度は
I
私は
want to help you.
そんなの気にしなくていい。
I don't need your
わざ
help.
わざ僕に会いに来なくてもいいよ。君にはこれから普通に
Jesus Christ. Whoever you are, whoever I am,
生き方なんて
Rimi's past, Rimi's feelings, Rimi's resolve. I remembered them all, and it made my chest tighten up in pain.
なんで
彼女は君の近くに
She was lonely, and so are you.
君に彼女を恨まないであって
Don't hate her, she's just nosy. God, she's trying to save everybody's lives, and y'all throwing strays at her. That's not fair. There was a sad echo in Shogun's voice.
彼女は僕がどれ勝手に
She's nosy, she doesn't listen.
感じで本当におせっかいだよ。
リミとナナミは
プロジェクトノアの責任者すべての
Genichi Norose,
かつてリ
the
ミを
bastard.
拷問していた男でもある。
Yeah, he's a super bad guy, so you should try and stab him
それなのに
with a sword.
君と僕とそして君を助けるためにあの男のところへたった一人で乗り
The
込んで
voice came back into my head. It was Rimi speaking, but she was saying things I'd never heard her say. They were words Shogun had heard.
意味？
Rimi.